If you're like me and you've already collected all of the released fighters, I think it's time for you to check out some custom fighters. Today we have the werewolf from Folklore. Yeah, you know what? The werewolf from Folklore. And continuing with the Halloween spirit, next up is the werewolf. And I mean, guys, take a look at this guy. He is monstrous and scary. Look at those teeth, look at those claws. And you know, we can start by looking at this miniature here. We can bring in King Arthur here to compare. And you'll see that this one is just slightly bigger, but I absolutely love how he just towers over other fighters. And you'll see that is kind of the theme of this deck here with the werewolf. Unlike some other decks that I've seen with the werewolf kind of changing between man and werewolf, in this deck, you'll actually be just a werewolf the entire time, but converting other players into werewolves and adding them to your team. And we'll see how that works in just a second. But we can first start off with the health dial here. And I'm super proud of this one. I loved how it turns out. This black, white, and red just looks gorgeous together. And then one thing we did end up adding is if it goes all the way down to 0, we have a special 0 icon with the trap. So yes, the werewolf gets trapped and snared and he is out for the count. And we'll leave links for the artwork if you want to do that same thing with your health dial. And then lastly, we have these little tokens here. They're called curse tokens, and we'll see what they do in just a moment. So we can move on to the werewolf hero card to learn a little bit more about how this deck plays. And you can see this hero card looks absolutely fantastic. That's also something I want to start doing in the future, is kind of having them more colorful, more fun, instead of just that kind of bland white border where you can see there's a kind of a dark forest in the background there, and with the instructions or the helpful reminder on the back there. But yes, this is Werewolf. He is a melee fighter with 16 health and 2 move, and his hero ability here says when you defeat a fighter, instead of removing it from the board, you may place 1 curse token on it. And yes, you have 3 of those curse tokens. A fighter with a curse token is not controlled by your opponent and is considered a sidekick of yours. So yes, when you're about to kill a sidekick or even a hero, instead of killing them, you will take them and add one of these curse tokens. And we can grab King Arthur's sidekick here, Merlin, and so you will have this curse token on top of him on the board, and now he will be your sidekick until that is removed or he is killed. And we'll kind of see a little bit more how that works with this Curse of the Werewolf card here. And this says, start the game with 3 curse tokens, as we saw there. The health of the fighter controlled by a curse token is his remaining health before being defeated. The controlled fighter is considered a werewolf sidekick. When a fighter controlled by a curse token is defeated, return that token to your side. So yes, you'll have only 3 to work with, and some of those curse tokens will actually go on top of the werewolf as well, but we'll see kind of how that works in a moment. But with Merlin as an example here, let's say he is left at 3 health here, and you end up dealing 4 damage to him. He would stay at that 3 health. You would add a curse token and then take that health dial, and now you have him as a sidekick. And you can use some of your cards in your deck that say any to attack or defend with Merlin. So very, very cool. You can be adding these to them, like with like squirrels or other like small sidekicks like the harpies. They'll just have that 1 health, but obviously you can add up to 3 sidekicks yourself. So if the opponent like Medusa has 3 harpies, you could potentially add all 3 of those harpies to your side, and she can't respawn them because they're controlled by you until she defeats her own harpies. She can't like bring them back. But yeah, let's take a look at the deck here, and we can look at this gorgeous card back. I mean, just absolutely gorgeous. You can see the original one here. It's basically the same thing. I just ended up adding just a little bit more detail to kind of match with my sets a little bit more, but I love how they made these glowing white eyes, and I added that white werewolf text as well. Very fun details there. And then starting with our attack cards here, this first one here is a 3 attack for the werewolf, so his sidekicks cannot use this card. They will have to say any on them. This is a 2 boost 2 copy, and this is sneak attack. Immediately, the value of your opponent's defense is 0 and cannot be changed by card effects. Other effects still happen. So basically guaranteeing that 3 damage with both of these and just ignoring the card's value, and he can't change it. It does specifically say you cannot be changed by card effects. So basically 2 guaranteed 3 attacks. Very scary. You'll see this whole deck, he is a monster. He's very, very scary to go against. And then next here is a 2 attack for the werewolf with 3 boost 3 copies, and this is tear apart the flesh. After combat, if you won the combat, deal 7 damage to the opposing fighter. So this is kind of like Gaze of Stone from Medusa, but instead of 8 damage, it's 7, so just a little bit smaller, but you get 3 of them instead of 2. Very, very fun. moving on to our defense cards here, and you can see this card got a little messed up during printing, so hopefully you won't have that same issue, and hopefully I can replace this card coming up. But this is a 2 defense for the werewolf, 2 boost, 1 copy, and this is Pure Blood. After combat, choose 2 different effects. And you can either do draw 2 cards, move up to 3 spaces, or place a curse token on yourself until the end of your turn. So once again, if you already have those 3 sidekick that you have taken from the opponent, all 3 of them will be used, so you can't place a curse token on yourself. And you'll see later in the deck here that sometimes you want a curse token on yourself because it'll make you even stronger. But you only have 1 of those, and it's a nice powerful card there. And then we have our versatiles for the werewolf here. So this is a 4 versatile with 1 boost, 2 copies, and this is Brawl. After combat, if you won the combat, choose one of the fighters in the combat and move them 3 spaces. So always great to be able to move fighters, especially if it's a versatile, so you can either choose to push them away on your turn or bring them closer on their turn. And then last here for our schemes here for the werewolf, this is 3 boost, 2 copies, and this is Full Moon. Place 1 curse token on yourself and remove it at the end of your turn. Recover 3 health. You may move each fighter up to 3 spaces. This includes imposing fighters. So you can move all the fighters on the board, potentially moving all those sidekicks closer to you so you can take them and moving the hero away from you. But you also get to place that curse token on yourself and recover 3 health. So a very strong card, and you get 2 of those. And then next here for the werewolf, a scheme card with 2 boost, 2 copies. This is Howling at the Blood Moon. Place 1 curse token on yourself and remove it at the end of your turn. Gain 1 action. So just setting yourself up with those curse tokens, and you'll see later on that sometimes it is very valuable to have that. So I like that this just lets you get that curse token and then continue with your 2 actions. And then moving on, the rest of the deck is going to be any cards. So these can be used not only on yourself, but also on the opponents that you have taken with your curse tokens here. So this is a defense for any with 3 boost, 2 copies, and this is accelerated healing. After combat, recover 2 health. So just nice defense and recovering potentially the damage that you would have taken. And I think the art on this card is one of my favorites. I love that rib cage with all the bites coming through it. It's just a very gruesome, very cool card with those eyeballs poking through. I think some of my favorite art in this deck. And the next here is a versatile for any with 3 boost, 3 value, 3 boost, 3 copies. And this is Infectious Bite and Scratch. Immediately, if you have a curse token, cancel all effects on your opponent's card. So once again, making it valuable to have those curse tokens on the werewolf there. And then after combat, your opponent discards 1 random card. And you get 3 of those. Next here is a 1 versatile for any with 1 boost, 3 copies, and this is Night Psychosis. After combat, draw 1 card. If you won the combat, draw 2 cards instead. So basically a regroup. And then next here is a 3 versatile for any with 2 boost, 3 copies, and this is Pain Transference. After combat, if you lose the combat, deal damage to your opponent equals the damage you took. So definitely a great card, not only for a nice 3 attack, and if you take any damage the other way. Definitely a nice versatile card to use in the right situation. I love that you get 3 of those. And then next here is a 2 versatile for any with 1 boost, 2 copies, and this is Enhanced Senses. Immediately, if you have a curse token, look at the hand of your opponent. During combat, you may choose a card from your opponent's hand to discard, add its boost value to this card. So this one is worded a little bit weird. Basically, how we have home ruled this one is that obviously with the curse token, you get to look at the opponent's hand, and then whenever you choose a card, if you did not have a curse token, you cannot choose the card that you want. You have to they would fan out the cards and you would pick a random one for them to add to your value there. So definitely worded not quite correct, but still a fun card. And the next here is a 3 versatile for any with 2 boost, 3 copies, and this is Bloodseeker. During combat, if you have a curse token, you may boost this card. After combat, move your fighter up to 3 spaces. Very, very cool. And then our last card here is a scheme for any with 2 boost, 2 copies, and this is Way of the True Alpha. Move up to 5 spaces. You may move through spaces containing opposing fighters, then deal 2 damage to any 1 fighter adjacent to your fighter. So you get to rush to the target that you exactly want to get to, and then immediately deal damage to them, or potentially kill off a sidekick, adding them to your team, and then ready to fight that hero. So a very, very cool deck. We can move on to my final thoughts. So this deck is a great thriller, kind of horror deck. I love how the werewolf turned out, the fact that you're, constantly biting other people, killing them, and then adding them to your team as werewolves. And I do want to point out that if you happen to do like a free-for-all match or a 2v2, you could potentially kill the T-Rex and add a curse token to him, and now he is on your team attacking the other fighters. So definitely going to be a little bit more rare to have actual heroes be cursed, but definitely very cool. And there are a few parts in the deck that are worded kind of strange. So obviously, you can either go through the deck and reword it yourself, or you can kind of just home rule it with your friends. But this deck is amazing. Definitely, if you're a fan of like the horror genre or these kind of like classic horror creatures, this is a fantastic deck. And I love how the artwork turned out, and no, this mini is just absolutely fantastic. So yeah, if you want to get this deck for yourself, you can find out how to make it. So if you want to get the same miniature that I used today, this is from the Meeplesmith as always. And then the health dial here is from boardgamesmaker.com. It's just the 2-inch round punch outs, and then this little dial in the middle, or this like rivet. It's just the extra ones that come with Unmatched, but you can also get these from the Game Crafter. I will leave a link for all of this stuff in the description, as well as the artwork you can use that basically just took that card back and added the title there. You'll have to kind of cut these out yourself as well, punch the hole in the middle, but they will turn out very well, as you can see there. And then the actual deck itself here, you can also get from boardgamesmaker.com. I'll leave a link for the exact cards that I use, but if you want to get the actual art as well as, you know, the actual deck itself, it's going to be from our creator here, Drakmorton here. I hope I'm saying that correctly, but you can get those on unmatched.cards. And this deck is absolutely fantastic. The actual hero card itself, I did change, as I said, to make it a little bit more thematic with the red and the black, as well as that forest in the background. So I will leave a link for the artwork in the description there, and then also the artwork for the health dial there. And then the last one, also from boardgamesmaker.com, so kind of you can get all of this in one stop here, are these cursed tokens. I believe the artwork, it's just cool cursed symbol that I found online, and she's cool little 3 acrylic pucks that I use. But yeah, go ahead and get this deck printed. I gotta go, my toast is burning.